So we are continuing on with the boot, making a few alterations as I go. Even though I've creased the edges of the heel there, you can see it's still a little bit soft, a little bit rounded around the end. So what I'm going to do is to add an extra edge loop around the bottom. So one way of doing that is to use the Swift Loop tool, and that comes from up here in the ribbon up on the top. If you go to Modeling, under Edit, you get this Swift Loop. And Swift Loop is a handy way of adding in extra geometry. So you can see as I hover over the different parts of the boot, it's showing me where it will create a loop on the given edges. So let's put in a Swift Loop there and now show the end. And you can see, having put in that Swift Loop, it is giving me more of a corner. If I pull that bunch of looped edges downwards, the closer it comes to the bottom, the more of a crisp edge that I'm getting. I'm also going to make some changes to the geometry around here. So let's take the cut tool this time, and I'm going to cut from here down to here. Let's say do something like this, because I'm going to be putting in lace panels here. I'm going to need to join those up in a moment, but okay, we're going to cut from here down to here. And let's join from there to there. Okay, this just gives us a bit of extra geometry to put in the lace panels for the boot. And what will we do now? Let's also now go above the whole lot. So there's our editable poly. I've put in a shell modifier as well to give it some thickness there, but I'm going to remove that shell modifier for the moment. Go up to my open subdiv. I'm going to change my open subdiv to have one iteration. And you can see if isoline display is turned off, I can see what the polygons will look like outside of editable poly. So if I put an edit poly modifier on top of this, temporarily I'm going to use this to create the lace panels. So if I go to polygon now, I'm going to, let's select the lace panels. So let's say the lace panels are going to come from here, deselecting sections. When you're doing all this selecting and deselecting, it's a good idea to switch from your move, scale and rotate tool to your general select object tool. That way you don't accidentally move things that shouldn't be moved. Let's just keep it something like okay, these are going to form our lace panels. So what I want to do is to detach these. Call them lace panels. And once that's done, I can delete that edit poly modifier. Its job is done because we've created this separate piece of geometry called lace panels. So one thing I want to do with these lace panels is to make sure that the holes that are going to form the lace holes, that they're sufficiently correctly set up. So I can see here the geometry is stretching a little bit on this point. So I'm going to make a slight change on these lace panels. So I'm going to go and cut. So I want to have a lace to come, say, from there to there. Let's do the same over here. And then I'm going to get rid of an edge. So to get rid of that edge and that edge, remove, and I'm going to cut from there to there. It's just getting me a nicer topology. So we're selecting polygons for laces. So let's select the inner ones. Now I'm still wondering about this one here. So what I might do is just take out that edge, go to 2 for edges. Remove. Gets me quads. Okay, back to polygons. And what I want to do is to inset each of those polygons. So if I go right click, inset, making sure that I'm insetting by polygon rather than by group, and go OK. Now what I would probably do is go around and make sure that they're all reasonably the same scale. What I'm going to do first of all is just extrude inwards a little bit, and I'm going to then let's delete everything but these 2 tricky ones, and the 2 tricky ones I'm just going to select and relax, or maybe grow the selection and then relax. Okay, let's shrink that selection again and delete. Okay, this gives me my lace holes, and while that looks a bit chunky at the moment, if I were to put an open subdiv modifier on top, there's my lace holes. So you can see with a little bit of resizing the polygons, that would be perfectly acceptable. The other thing I might want to do is to put a shell modifier on top, so I'll do that under open subdiv, put on my shell modifier, and now my open subdiv looks something like that for my lace holes. Let's show the boot again. Now the boot also needs extruding. I'm going to make those lace holes extrude, lace panels extrude a bit more thickly. So I'm going to do it on the outer instead of the inner. 0 on the inner, and I will say 3 on the outer, and gets me something like that. Then I can go to the boot, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put a shell modifier on, but I'm going to extrude it inwardly. So go to shell, and this time I'm going to say 0 on the outer and 3 on the inner, and our open subdiv boot and laces looks a bit like that.